Welcome back to Mortgage Ballers. My name is Rich Hanlin, and today I have Philip. But Philip, you say your last name.
Zajicek.
See, I would have not got that wrong. I've spelled it a couple different ways. I was telling Philip that I actually have another Philip with a very similar name. I was just looking it up. It's exactly the same, except the last name starts with an H, not a Z, but spelled exactly the same.
Interesting. Huh.
It is.
I haven't seen that.
Well,
Cool.
it's even more interesting. Something you shared with me. I'd like you to, if you would, share the incredible thing that you learned as a. Now, were you a professional mountain bike?
Yes.
Is it mountain biking or just off-road biking?
Road bike. So I
Road
raced
bike. All right.
professional road bikes for 12 years, quite a bit in Europe, around the world. And I was doing the peace race in Czech Republic, and I had some people come up to me after the race and like, "Oh, you're the little bunny." I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" "Yes, in Czech, your last name, it means little bunny, but not just little bunny, the littlest bunny." I was like, "Oh,
And of
that's
course,
nice."
you fought and they threw you out of the country, and that was the end of your cycling career. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Now, yeah, can I ask you a question? You're not those guys that we see on the Red Bull commercials where they're jumping off those big cliffs in Arizona and picking their lines and going down, and you're like, that's absolutely the most crazy thing I've ever seen. Or are you just off-road
No,
racing over rocks and
no.
you got all the shock
On the road.
absorbers?
On the
Okay.
road, only
Oh,
on the road.
road bike.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I
All right.
went uphill very fast. That was it.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like it. Believe it or not, I used to do triathlons.
Okay.
Done about 27 of them. I did do an Ironman one time. Done a couple half Ironmans, mostly international Olympic distance. Really love the swimming part of it. It's been probably 10 years now since I've done it. I didn't compete professionally. I want to be very clear. My goal was just to finish the race. So, I take my hat off to you. Anybody that can ride a bike, I've seen what you guys do, and you live in the big sprockets and you go 100 miles an
Yeah.
hour.
It was a lot of training and a lot of suffering. It's very
That's
hard.
a good word, suffering.
Yeah.
That makes you probably a great loan officer. You understand surrender and suffering
You know,
in
a
order
lot
to
of
keep
it,
going.
a lot of it transfers over because in cycling, if you work hard, you do well. And it's really the same in mortgage. If you put in the time, work hard, you're gonna see results.
I like it. I like it. Tell everybody where you're at right now.
Right now,
Where,
I'm
where do
in
you live
Boulder,
at?
yeah, Boulder, Colorado. I have two little girls, 11 and 13, going to
Okay.
school out here. But I'm from Tucson. We spend a lot of time in Tucson, heading there tomorrow for spring break, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, right on. We talked about you'll be coming in for our Scottsdale event that we're going to
Yeah.
throw at the end of April, which will be cool. Big difference between Colorado weather and Tucson weather, that's for sure.
Yes. No, it's going to be 80 and sunny all next week. It's going to be good. Looking forward to
Oh,
it.
that should be nice. I
Yes.
like it. I like it. I'm actually going to go to Key West next week. Um,
Oh,
my wife has never been. I went fishing with my sons down there right before the older one got married 2.5, 3 years ago. Maybe it's almost four. Gosh, time goes fast. But I was like, hey, we don't have to go to the Bahamas to get that kind of weather. They're almost identical where they're at,
yeah.
but it's a lot cheaper to go to Key West for 2 or 3 days because we live in Georgia. So it's a very quick flight, like an hour and
Hmm.
20 minutes. And we're just going to go get away. And because it's been a little bit cold, and Georgia's in that transition phase right now where it's cold,
Yeah.
rainy, then hot. And it's like, let's go get some nice weather. Spring training is just finishing up. So we get to see the average days down there getting really nice. So it's kind of interesting. I
Yeah.
like it.
Tucson is similar. It's an hour, 20-minute flight. And now I trail run. I don't really bike anymore. And the trail running in Tucson is unbelievable. It's so good. So I'm looking
I couldn't
forward for that.
imagine running anymore. I think my days of running are over. So I used to always compete at 200 pounds. So I jump up to like 220, 225 in between races. Then I'd scale back down. But a lot of it goes by weight division and or age division. They within then they have weights because you're right. There's people that carry almost zero body fat and they
Yeah.
fly. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, how do you run
Yeah.
so fast? How do you bike so fast? How do you swim so fast? But they do. Athletes are amazing. The suffering you're talking about, I'm amazed what the human body can do. And it's not what always people think. I done some marathons, and I've been beat by people that probably weigh 300 pounds. And so you can get your body to do a lot of incredible things. Now, it probably is not the healthiest thing for what they're doing, but hey, they're in the right direction. But my friend was like 250 who would train with me, and we'd do things together, and we had a lot of fun doing them. But we did quite a few events, especially if you ocean swim. It's nice to have somebody with you, and you just always have to be a little faster than them in case you see something with a fin out there. You just push them in that direction. No, I'm kidding. Well, Ryder, how long have you been doing loans?
So I've been doing loans for 12 years now.
Okay.
And came into it pretty much directly from cycling. Started off as an assistant for an LO here in Boulder. And he was a former bike racer. So he told me,
All right.
Just come work for me, see what you think of it. And, I was his assistant for 2 years and fell in love with it. And decided this is what I want to do.
This is exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life. I'll tell you what, I blinked my eyes almost 35 years ago. September 1st will be 35 years. Never in my life did I come out of college thinking I'm going to go into real estate. Matter of fact, I moved from Southern California to Northern California to get a job. And the day I showed up, the job wasn't there anymore. And I just packed my truck and moved up there. And so I took a job as a loan processor because they needed somebody, and I thought I'll just do this until I find something. And I've been in it ever since. I went to work for a broker, which is kind of interesting. Do you do this by yourself? Do you have a team that you're with? How do you do it?
Me and my processor, so just the two of us. Yep. I left a big bank here in Boulder, a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So I've come back to the broker world. And I'm very, very happy.
How long have you been with Xpert? That full year and a half, or just recently? How long have you been with us?
Yep, year and a half.
Okay. You know what? I was telling you about the other person, the name. So it's very possible that if I've seen an email from you, that I've been answering it thinking it's the other person and vice versa. And I'm starting to think back in my head, like, this person might be going, wait, that makes a little more sense now. I'm going to interview that person and I'm going to bring you up. I told him, with a very similar name, I'm going to ask him if he's not a little bunny, but also the littlest of a bunny. But I like that.
You'll have to connect us.
I definitely will. As a matter of fact, I started out by asking Philip, is your dad the one that has the brokerage and what? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. I'm now figuring this out a little bit. But that's why I wanted to do this, because this company has grown. I got over 600 people. And the idea is I do like to know the people that work here. I talk to a lot of people electronically, and it's like, gosh, it's nice for me to put a face and with the emails and text messages, but a voice as well. And some of you guys have some incredible stories. I got a professional Rubik's Cube. I got professional singers. I now have ex-professional, road bike racer now doing, trail running. Oh gosh. We have a person that's like a slalom, wakeboarder. And I'm looking at these people going, really? And everybody from Colorado, of course, I ski, of course, Rich. And I'm like, gosh, all you guys ski. Everybody skis in Colorado. After all, you have 300 days a year of sunshine or whatever it is. And I'm like, well, that makes more sense.
So my girls are learning how to Nordic ski right now. So
what's Nordic ski?
So cross country. So
okay.
where your skis are in line, that's classic. And then there's also skate skiing where your skis are in a V.
All right.
Yeah. So
I saw something the other day for cross country skiing, because normally, the back of your heel can come up so you can create momentum as you're going over trails and covering distance. But they actually had built this little thing where you're on there, but they're like these little tank tracks, and you're literally dropping your skis and it's moving you on these things. And I thought, man, we're just like, it's almost like putting a electric battery on your road bike. And I'm like, are you really accomplishing the same experience?
Yeah. That's interesting. I'll have to look for that.
I'm like, hey, I went for a bike ride. You went for a bike ride or a bike non-ride? Because your legs never moved. Well, tell me this. I mean, obviously you're doing loans. You're in a Colorado market. You said you just are getting your license back in Arizona, where you actually grew up, went to high school, if I heard you correctly.
Yes.
And putting all that stuff together, where exactly do you live in Colorado?
Boulder.
Oh, another Boulder person, man. I got to tell you, I have more people out of Boulder than I ever imagined. Colorado overall is our number one state when you take the funded loans per licensees in that state. California funds more loans, but there's 500 licensees that live there. It's my biggest state overall, and then a lot of them have other licenses. But Colorado it's one of my favorite states from a business standpoint, not just for you guys, but business wise. They leave you alone. They're very common sense, unless you're really doing something bad. They're like, just go conduct your business, have a life, where other states are like, they want to control everything you do, like the state of Washington. Sorry, I said it, but it is what it is. I got some questions for you because I want to know business, man. I want to know some stuff about your personal life, even though you're offering it. But if you will allow me to, is it okay if I ask you some questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We know you're in lending. Your friend got you in it, but now that you've been in it, what's the favorite part about what you do? I mean, you could do anything you want. Sounds like you're very outgoing.
Yeah, I love helping people. I really, really enjoy helping people, whether it's a refinance to get their payment down or, buy the house of their dreams. I do a good bit with affordable houses. So
Okay.
Boulder, the city of Boulder has permanently affordable housing. So they're $200,000 houses. And those can be, a life changer for people. So I really like working with that program.
I don't think I saw the $200,000 houses when I was in Boulder, so I'm not sure
It,
exactly where those
they
ones are at.
exist. Yeah, they exist. It's
Yeah.
a really great program. So every new development has to devote a certain amount towards the permanently
Okay.
affordable program.
California had something like that too, and you'd go through and all of a sudden be like, "What's that house right there?" And they're like, "Oh, because in order for them to build, they have to have three of those, and
Yep.
they go like that."
Yeah.
In order to meet that requirement. Like, only three, huh? Why not? But yet there's 400 of the other ones, but there's three of those. But those guys, they get incredible rapid appreciation because they're the way those are set up. Here's a question for you on that program. Because I can tell you, California, for those loans that we did, there would be a participation that if you sold it before a certain time, that the city could recoup some of that equity with you for giving you that house. I know, is California or Colorado have
No.
something similar to that?
So it's capped, the appreciation is
Okay.
capped at 3% per year.
All right.
So even if the city of Boulder appreciates 10%, you're only going to appreciate 3%. So they
When you
cap it
say
that way.
you're going to, meaning if you sold it, that's all they'll give you is that three. So if it was going by 10%, they would keep the difference of the seven if you
No,
sold it.
that, no, it's just only worth 3% more per year. That's it.
So do you have to sell it to another person that
Yes.
qualifies for that
Yep.
program
It
to
has
keep
to
it that way?
stay. Yeah, that house stays in the program.
Okay. California had
Yeah,
something like that too.
permanent. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So,
weird. California, like you would have to market it through the program first to somebody coming up. And if they couldn't find a qualified buyer within something like 6 months, then you could take it to the outside market. And that's when the appreciation and guidelines, I mean, they had all these guidelines, but
interesting.
um, they
Yeah.
still do that program, but sometimes the money runs out. California money
No,
runs out all the time.
there's a huge waiting list to get into the program. So
Oh, yes.
as soon as your house comes up, it's gone immediately. Yeah.
I've had some people
It's a
call up and
great
say, "Oh,
program.
I heard about this program." And I'm like, "You're not on the waiting list yet? I'll see you in about 3 years because let's say there's 80 people ahead of you. Five of you are going to get it this year."
Yeah.
And they get so frustrated. And I'm like, "Well, you don't understand. It's a very unique program. And yeah, it's great. But there are qualifications. It's not just open to anybody.
Hmm.
But we can possibly get you in. There are other programs, but those programs typically are designed to get people in houses, and they're very good at making sure the right people are getting those houses versus somebody cheating the system, things like that.
Yeah. It takes a year of being in the program to finally go under contract.
Goodness, that's be a tough job for realtors right there. If they had a lot of those buyers, they'd be waiting for a year to get in there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you've been doing a lot of stuff. What I love about your active side of your life, because you meet a lot of people, but there's a lot of perseverance, stamina. I mean, we were talking about the characteristics that go with the type of endurance type of things that you're doing and have done. I mean, all of that to me has helped me in this industry because it's not always easy. And sometimes I have to persevere. I have to have endurance to go the distance because I don't want to, but I trust it. I know if I keep my cadence up, that I'm going to be able to get there. And I've learned to use cadence in my life. I don't get, because I need to go the distance in the day. I can't go blockbuster for the first hour and then I die off. I need to be consistent all the way through because it might be the last thing I do of the day is the one thing that turns into the loan that I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Just crazy to me. Tell me, you're a dad, you said you have two daughters. Are they going to be getting into the endurance part of life? Are they doing anything like that? Just
Yeah,
Nordic skiing?
so cross country skiing, they love to swim, they love to run, so they'll definitely be endurance athletes of some sort. But
I like it.
we're
I
not
like it.
pushing them into anything.
Well, I like that too. I
We'll see
think
what
I
they
probably
see
pushed
what
my
they
kids.
enjoy.
We had our kids try a lot of different things. My sons are older now. They're 28 and going to be 30 here in like probably about 2 weeks. And that's gone by fast, but we had them try a lot of things. I played baseball through college. I played minor league baseball for the Seattle Mariners, and that's just was my route that I took. And so they kind of ended up doing that. One son went to Air Force Academy, Colorado Springs, played baseball. The other one went to Arkansas. And now we're all ex-athletes, not playing baseball because it's a very short-lived. I was a starving college student, became a starving minor league baseball player. Wasn't what it was all cracked to be. That's when I started doing the triathlons after I'm like, I used to watch the original triathlons, the Ironmans. And I remember watching these guys. I'm like, what does it feel like to cross the finish line after doing all those events? And I remember going, you know what? I'm going to go do that. So I started with some small ones, but I immediately did it. And if I look back in my life, it was probably about the only time in my life that I could train like that before life went a lot of different directions. Because to do that over and over and over, I mean, over 2,000 miles on the bike, over, 20 marathon distances, going through, 5 pairs of shoes, you only have so much time in your life to be able to do things. This is before that other company took off. And I was still a smaller company. I'm like, there's no way I could do that today. Although we have a couple Ironman that actually persons that work at Xpert Home Lending, which I kind of found out too. Here's something I want to ask you. You're doing a lot of things. What's a lesson you've learned the hard way, but you are now grateful for?
Just taking it as a given that business will just come in the door.
Good one.
When we went through that refi boom, you didn't have to work for deals. They were just rolling in.
Yeah.
And now you have to hustle. So I'm really appreciating the relationships that I have and working to grow those.
What's funny for me, I feel like I work just as hard at both ends of the spectrum. I'm going 100 miles an hour if my pipeline's full, and I'm like, oh my God, my day's so crazy. But I'm also working just as hard when my pipeline's not full because oh my gosh, I got to fill my pipeline. I never have this happy medium. If you do get a day where everything kind of lines up, enjoy it because you don't get many of those days where it just feels balanced. That's one thing. And even from the broker side, I was telling you, I originate, I do real estate, I do a lot of things too. And so that's kind of how Xpert came to be. And I always say it's built by originators for originators. I've tried to do other platforms, but it's not until I changed it and said, okay, the broker needs to be last in the formula. We need to push and help the originators on the front line because they're doing the open houses with the realtors. They're away from their families. We don't deserve the lion's share of their money. What is a fair value? And let's partner with them. They're not my employees. There's an expectation of what we're supposed to bring and what they're supposed to bring. If we all do it right, my goal is to make you look good, which makes your real estate agents look good. But I changed my mindset and people say, well, how do you get borrowers? I'm like, I don't get borrowers. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I go after loan originators. They are my clients and the borrowers are a subproduct of them because they all do it different. When I go after borrowers, then I make everybody conform to the way I'm getting those borrowers. And I just block off all the creative juice. It's a different type of a mortgage brokerage. And I learned that way. But in 2008, when it crashed, I learned a lot of the weaknesses of that type of a mortgage setup. So we made changes, and that's kind of what you're seeing today with Xpert Home Lending. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. 2025's here. If you could give yourself, you just don't look old enough to ask this question, but going back in time, knowing what you know today, and you kind of answered it, but I want you to talk to that younger person who was you, knowing what you know as homeowner, things like that, who's sitting on the sidelines, and you also got someone thinking, well, I'll wait to refi, but I've got all these high bills. You got all these people that are just afraid to take that next step. What is your talk track for those kind of people? Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. No, the biggest thing that people don't understand when I think about that same question is time fixes anything, and especially the minor dips that people think they're experiencing in the moment. Just add 10 years on to there. I promise you're going to be doing very well. I have never had a borrower or a buyer that did a loan to buy come back 10 years later and go, that's the worst decision I've ever made. And I'm like, it always has worked to their advantage. Some of them in California have appreciated, doubled, tripled in that 10-year period of time. It seems like those things are happening faster and faster, more rapid. But that's one of the reasons I left California, that a first-time home buyer at that time, 3 years ago, for a 30-year-old home with 1,000 square feet up in Northern California, it was like $531,000. I'm thinking, oh my God, that's $500,000. I could see why the next gen is going, we'll never have that opportunity. But then I left California and I found, like what you said, there's a $200,000 house, there's programs, things like that. And the same house that at the time, there was a brand new home, D.R. Horton's, that was $456. That same exact home for D.R. Horton in southern Georgia by Warner Robins Air Force Base was $156. I'm like, how is that possible? It's the same house, same builder. And that's when I started learning a lot that not everything is priced the same in the United States of America. If you're willing and you have the ability, you can become an owner, but sometimes it takes a little more effort on your part versus I will only live in this area forevermore. It's like, no, sometimes you have to venture out. I'm from Southern California by way of Northern California. Now I'm in Suwanee, Georgia, about an hour outside of Atlanta. Home is where you make it. And electronically, I can have somebody right in front of me. They have these things called planes, and I can go visit my family. But that's my thing is, don't be afraid to venture in order to create an opportunity which can be a legacy for you and generations to come. I definitely agree with that. I'm drilling you with lots of questions. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. I didn't put that in there, but you have any questions for me? Anything you want to know about me, Xpert Home Lending? I don't know. I know it's kind of catching off guard. If you don't, you don't. I always forget to put that in there. And I apologize because Boulder was one of our bigger events. Were you at that Boulder event that we did last year? Okay. We will definitely do a Boulder event and a South Denver event because there's enough people in those directions that separate that. We'll do the Arizona one, which is Scottsdale. We'll do a Northern California, probably Sacramento, because we have quite a big thing up there. We'll probably do an Austin, Texas one. And then from there, we will do a UWM trip. Will either be a success track just for us, or it'll be invite your favorite realtor or realtors with you. And we'll do a realtor event at UWM that's 100% paid for by UWM to get your realtors out there. They'll cover their hotel. You just got to get them to and from the airport, but they'll even have food all day for them. And that's usually a 2-day event. If we do that one, it'll be more like September, October, right before it gets cold out there. But we have a lot of events starting with Scottsdale next month, and then we'll start doing that. I'll be getting out some events. Like I told you, I'm getting out from behind the desk, and I want to get out there. And if I can find enough people that are interested, then boom, I'm coming out your guys' way. And part of that is trying to make it smaller, right? I get that we're all on islands, but it feels a little bit smaller when you can shake a hand and actually sit with somebody. And I believe that is still important versus just trying to be bigger in the United States of America. We lose something, and I want to be real careful with that. So that's great takeaway that you said. I do like that. Oh my gosh. And I will film every bit of you running. I think I went to my son's graduation and I was dying. He's like, Dad, we need to stop by and get down there at the gas station. They have oxygen cans that you can breathe because I think you're hurting. I'm like, I am hurting. This is crazy. That was one of the worst times I've ever been there. I still have family in Colorado Springs. And so I try and drink a lot of water before I go. And, I've lost a lot of weight over the years. And obviously losing weight helps in any circumstance. And I'm talking 10, 15 pounds when you're a mile high where the oxygen already starts to get low. I remember being in Colorado and I'm looking up on the mountain. I'm like, what's up? Why all the top of the mountains look like they're dead? And I'm like, that's the oxygen line. Like there's no oxygen above that. So nothing grows up there. And I'm like, what a weird state. Are you a Denver Bronco fan or are you a sports fan? It's a beautiful stadium. Yeah. Are you a Lance Armstrong fan? I enjoy him. I was people can say what they want. He was an incredible competitor, and maybe he's one of the few that got caught, I guess. I can tell you in baseball at the time I played, either you could afford the steroids or you couldn't. We just didn't talk about it. I mean, it was all done off season. And some people would carry it into the season because believe me, as you get older and it hurts more, there's so many things to do. But I watch those professional bike rides, the Tour de France, stuff like that. And I'm just going, yeah, how do you do that day in and day out? I mean, it's so crazy when you see like 100 of them go down because they're so close and so tight, and one person goes down and everybody behind goes down, and then you got to get back up. And these guys are just torn up, and they still. Here's the best one, Philip: the cobblestone. I watch those guys take their road bikes over cobblestone, and I'm like, that would be miserable. And these guys just do it like it's nothing. And how fast they're traveling as a whole versus when they break off and try and do it alone. The energy. I mean, it's a very amazing sport. There is a lot of psychology to it. And I would say from our standpoint, we do a lot of things alone. And that'd be my challenge to you for 2025. You have gotten smart enough to use a processor so that you can keep focusing and leveraging in one direction and let them help you and assist you with some of those I'm not non-originating activities. So congratulations on that. So many people just keep doing their own thing, and that's fine too. But at the same point, if you get to 4 or 5 fundings a month, which you will here probably within the next 12 months, there comes a point in time that you can't grow anymore like you should be able to grow. If you keep just doing everything yourself, and some people say, I don't want to grow. And I'm like, that's cool. But some people do want to get that to that next level. And it's like, how do you do it? And our top people, I only know one person, Johnny Delgadillo. He could do 24 deals a month by himself, month in, month out, highly organized. And we're going to get him on because I'm like, dude, how do you do that? And I never get complaints because he obviously is able, and it's all purchase, and he's able to stay in front of all those people. That means he's got 50 deals behind it that are, feeding. So he's probably done with 100 people at any given time. And that balancing act, and he does it year in, year out. He's one of our top 25 for 2024. He was one of our top 25 for 2023. He came over from my last company where he was a top 10 for probably 2 or 3 years in a row. Just an incredible person, even though he plays pickleball now. Who plays pickleball? But he asked if I would start a pickleball team at Xpert, and I'm like, I don't think so. Well, you guys are the outdoor. Megan Lamorato, she goes on hikes with her realtors. They all bring their dogs and go on dog walks together. I mean, everybody's doing. I think the important thing that I've been learning is don't reinvent the wheel. Find the things that you love to do, and then find realtors and other referral partners that aren't just realtors, CPAs, attorneys, whatever, and connect with those people in the environments that you're comfortable in. Road bike is incredible. I mean, you guys have some great riding out there. They really thought that out well. Just outside Boulder, if I remember right, I saw these guys biking in this special area along the side of the freeway. And I'm like, we don't have that. I mean, to be able to just ride, I can't go near a freeway. And they're not on the freeway. It's just on the outside, but it's like they have their own paved trails and stuff like that. It was kind of cool. Yeah. How much do you ride anymore? Do you ride at all? Well, I think it's awesome that you're still doing it. Stay active for as long as you can. I hurt more if I don't do anything anymore than if I do. So staying active for me, but I bet you're quite a bit more active than I am. I'll be 58 here in just like 2 months. It's gone by a blink of an eye. Man, Philip, I know I took your time, but man, you just been awesome, just busting off a lot of value for people. I want to say thank you for your partnership. That's probably the most important thing. But thank you for trusting our platform, whether it's one day or if you stay here 20 years. Obviously, you have your ability to do loans. And once you figure that out, to control your own day versus put a shackle around your ankle, and your daughters are going to see that. And it's just teaching another generation, like, you can be your own boss. And I love watching people just explode with that mindset. So I wish you nothing but the best for 2025. But I always just want to make sure I say thank you enough to you for your partnership. All right on. Well, there you have it. Philip came on today. Philip, one more time. All I had stuck in my head now is Little Bunny and Littlest of Bunnies, but say your last name one more time for me. Zajieck. And did you say that was Czech? Right on. So Philip Zajieck, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for coming on Mortgage Ballers, letting us just drill you with lots of questions. You're probably like, wow, what's going on here? But we want people to be able to know who you are when they're talking to you and they come across this video and going, okay, this is making more sense. And by the way, I think that if that's a good thing, I don't know if you'll ever live that down, that you shared that story with us about the bunny. But now we know when we see the coming down into Boulder and we have the signs on the side of the freeway that says, call the little bunny, the littlest of bunnies, we will know who they are talking about. Philip Zajieck. Right on. Well, you have a good day. Thanks again. And like we say every time we interview anybody on the Mortgage Ballers channel, stay thirsty, my friends. All right, Philip, thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you next month. All right. Take care, my friend. There it goes.